All right, hello team. Welcome or welcome back to Future Fibers. My name is Jenny and this is a podcast where we talk about all the crafty things that I do. It is mostly knitting, and today we have a little bit of crochet, a lot of bit of crochet actually. So let's just get started. I have a lot to go through. Today I am wearing a hand knit. See, as you can see, I am wearing the Stella top by Tweety Sheep. I knit this last year using a silk yarn that I got from Color Mart, but it is a very easy breezy CoverGirl summer knit. So I am glad that I finally finished weaving in all the ends for this tank top, which I neglected to do for about a year. So that's, if that tells you a little bit about the person that I am. There may be kids screaming throughout this video. Hopefully it's not too annoying. I just have neighbors. Yeah, the children are home and they're having fun. And who am I to rob them of their joy of summer vacation? I've had a little bit more time to do my crafty hobbies in the past couple of weeks. So I have a little bit more than usual. And I also have a lot of like smaller things than larger like clothing item projects. So hopefully that gives a little bit of variety in the things that I am bringing to you. And I also have kind of swung fully into summer knitting and put all the really woolly projects in the back burner because I gotta be honest with you, I cannot be bothered to touch like woolly yarn. I can't do it. So lots of summery fiber projects. There's a fly in the room. Finished objects first. Let's start with the crochet projects because I have quite a bit. And first of all, let me take a sip from my coffee. Yeah, I made some more of these. What are these called? Koozies? Cozies? Cup holders, kind of. I am a iced coffee girl, regardless of the season. And in the winter, I need a cup cozy because my hands get cold from holding the iced coffee. And in the summer, I need a cup cozy because the cup obviously starts sweating and I don't want to leave like rings of water everywhere. And I had to make them because I've recently disposed of my reusable cup that I lost the lid for. So I got a new reusable, what is this called? Tumbler. And this one, I didn't read the measurements or the description, so it's smaller than what I had before. Therefore, I needed to make new cup cozies. So that was an excuse to use up some of my cotton yarns that I have in the stash. This one is Wool in the Gang Shiny Happy Cotton. I don't remember what the colorway is, but I'll write it down below. And how I make these, I made them a couple of different ways, but these I just basically did double crochet. And I used a needle that is smaller than recommended so that it's a little tighter. So I think I used like 3.5 or 3.75 hooks. And then you just, you know, chain around and then do double crochet in a square or a rectangle rather. And then you join up the sides using a slip stitch and then you start from the top and then make the handle down and then join at the bottom. So there's tutorials for it. You don't need me to explain how to do this, not because I'm not good at it. But I made this one and I also made this one using other yarns that I had. Cotton. Definitely make sure to use a cotton fabric or something that is really absorbent. You don't want the water just like bouncing off of the cup cozy. So you want something that will absorb the moisture. Therefore, cotton is best in my opinion. And I sewed these labels that I had at home on here just so that it provides a little bit of visual interest, you know. I think they're pretty cute. Very practical. So that was like the first crochet item that I did. And I'm going to be making a couple more, I think, to give them away to friends and also to use up my stash of cotton yarn. Moving on to other crochet projects. These two you've seen in, well, if you watch the non-podcast videos that I post, I have videos for these. So I will link them down below and then also in the cards somewhere. The first one is my MiuMiu Inspired purse. I also made an Instagram reel about this that I should probably cross post to YouTube for, I don't know, for being a good influencer's sake. I don't remember what I showed in the last episode. I think in the last episode I showed maybe the beginnings of this, but then it was like single crochet. I ripped it out and then I had to redo it in half double crochet because I just thought it looked better than single crochet and it looked a little bit closer to the original. Some things that I did for this bag is really like the making of the crochet part wasn't really hard, and I just used whatever scraps that I had that were like more poppy in color so that it makes this like almost like, it kind of looks like Legos, doesn't it? Like a almost Lego like color scheme. And there's also like a bunch of TikTok tutorials and people who've crocheted this a lot better than I did, so maybe I would check that out if you want to also make a copy. But it's just half double crochet and I'm pretty sure I did like 4 rows and then I think it was like 24 stitches. I won't talk too much about this because I think that whole video I kind of talk ad nauseum about it, but the zipper I got from the Fabric District in New York, and then it has a leather zipper pull that I just sewed on there. It does have a lining. Oh, and that's trash. The lining is just used old bed sheets that I cut up and put in here, so use what you have, you know? I think the hardware is what makes the bag look more profesh, and this I got from Etsy, and I'll leave the shop below. They're on vacation right now. So, and I also think they might be sold out of this particular thing. I might have gotten the last one, I'm so sorry. Part of the reason why I got this particular hardware was because it comes with this bag ends that you connect to the bag, the leather part that's connected to the D-ring, and then it comes with the removable kind of like lobster claw clip that you can clip this onto. So if you want just the lobster clip part, there's a ton of places on Etsy and whatever that you can buy the straps, and then the leather part here with the D-ring, you could probably fashion that out of, you know, bias tape and just buying a D-ring separately. Or if you don't want the handles to be like removable, then I think Hobbii Yarns actually has a couple of those. I believe those are synthetic leather, but if you want genuine leather, you can also find them on Etsy. So I'll link the Hobbii one down below as well for an alternative. And then I have these keychains on here. Finally, I am making use of all the keychains that I've hoarded over the years by putting them on all these bags. So I'm really glad that the keychain trend is coming back. So that's bag number 1. We have bag number 2. And it's this crochet jerse jean bag, jean purse. And you can see it also has all these stuff on it. I am that girl who's got all that stuff on her keys, so you can hear me coming from like a mile away. And now I get to exert my dominance even in bag form, so that's very exciting. But this is my crochet bag, jean bag purse that I have a whole video on, so I'll also link that. But I made the yarn out of old jeans that I've hoarded for a while, and I finally put the project to good use. Something that I didn't mention in that video though, I think, is that this bag is super heavy. Well, okay, not super heavy, but it's heavy it's like heavy for its size. You know what I mean? Because this is jeans, and this cannibalized like basically 2 pairs of jeans, 2.5 pairs of jeans. So just, you know, I will keep that in mind if you also want to try this. But if you're like sensitive to very heavy things on your shoulders, maybe this is not the project for you, but I like how it looks. So I will wear it until my shoulders give out. I used a very chunky crochet hook for this. So I'm sure like most of you don't have that in your arsenal. Like it's like the 14mm or whatever if you don't want to buy a oversized crochet hook that you're only really going to use for this project, you could cut the jean yarn into like thinner strips. I did about 1/2 inch to 1 inch because I wasn't measuring at all while cutting. But if you cut it to be a little bit slimmer or thinner, then you would probably have a much better time crocheting with this jean fabric. Yeah, it hurt my hands. I have a lot of projects that hurt my hands this time around because I love pain, I guess. I do also want to try making the Rose Knitwear Helix bag. I did buy the pattern, and that one is a similar concept where you're making yarn out of recycled materials like bed sheets or fabric that you have laying around. However, it is knit versus crochet, so I would be pretty interested in trying that out. So I will just have a bunch of crochet bags. Is that all the finished objects? No, I do have one more, and it's a bunny. Isn't that so cute? This rabbit pattern is a free pattern on Ravelry, and the pattern name is Henry's Bunny, and it's by the designer Rabbit Hole Knits. And this is made, the recommended yarn weight is worsted weight. I guess it is worsted weight, but I just kind of basically used whatever I had at home to make this because I didn't want to go out and buy more yarn for a little project. I really like rabbits as a concept. I like bunnies as a concept. I think they're really cute. I think they're really cute pets. I just can't have a rabbit for practicality reasons. So I thought, why not make a bunny? I don't know. I was just really into like I was really fixated on making a bunny plush for some reason. So I did it, and I found the pattern and it turned out well. I did not follow the pattern that well because I always do this where I should really read the whole thing all the way through before I start. But yeah, I should have used some stitch markers. That's why the rabbit's face is kind of like, it's a little wonky. It's a little like tilted to the side because I did not put a stitch marker where the midline of the body is. And that's why he's kind of like, but I don't know. I think it's still really cute. I did make a couple of modifications. Like the original pattern just, you know, gives you the instruction for like the body and the feet and the general shape of the bunny, but then it doesn't give you anything on like extra color work, you know, like the different patterns that the bunny could have. So what I did was for the body, I had like a brown acrylic yarn that I used to make a skirt last year, and then I unraveled that acrylic yarn to make this bunny, and then I held it together with some mohair / linen fuzzy thing that I had from knitting my Maud tee that was from Color Mart, and then it made this kind of like pinky brown color. And then I had some left over of the Drops boucle in white from a Christmas present that I made last year. So I used that to make all these like white points on the rabbit. The inside of the ear, I kind of did intarsia, and then just the original ear pattern, I think it's like 12 stitches. So basically I divided the stitches into 6. So like the back of the ear and then the front of the ear. And then for the front of the ear, I did the middle 4 stitches. I held the brown yarn together with the Drops boucle instead of the Color Mart fuzzy mohair. So that gives it this like inside of the ear look. And then the rest of this is like kind of like duplicate stitch, but not really because I just used a crochet hook and just did whatever to make it fuzzy. Same with the tail here. Not a lot of intentional techniques here, just kind of, you know, making it up as I go. And the embroidery I did a terrible job on, so his nose is a little crooked too. And I wanted to get doll eyes, so that they look a little bit more realistic, but I didn't have any, so for now he has button eyes. And I think they're pretty cute, but button eyes kind of freak me out because they remind me of the movie Coraline, so I might I might replace the eyes. Yeah, so if you want a quick little project, I did this in a day pretty much, so if you have some leftover yarn and you want a quick little project, I would recommend this. This bunny was kind of a primer bunny, I guess, before I committed myself to one of the clear garland patterns of different rabbits. I know she has a Peter Rabbit stuffy pattern that's really, really cute. So before I commit myself to a more realistic looking rabbit, I made this one just to make sure that I, you know, kind of understood like the different techniques and if I even wanted to make any more stuffies. So that's why I did this. Maybe we'll have more stuffies in the future, but for now we have a little bunny rabbit. My boyfriend's mom also has like rabbits in our yard, so every time I go over to her house I'm always like, where's the rabbit? And then they look like this. They are this color and so cute. I love bunnies as a concept. So that's all the finished objects. Now we have a bunch of works in progress whips. Let's start with what I showed last podcast episode, and that's the Tuileries Polo. There's been a lot of progress, but this is a pattern by Knits Pour Moi. Ta-da! I think the last time you just saw the back paneling, but now I have it joined in the round and we have a collar. She's looking real good and I'm really excited to have this finished. I made a big mistake during this project, and I really wish I had recorded myself working through it, because I think it would have been funny because I was in distress. You should have seen my face when I realized my mistake, but maybe it's for the better, because when I'm stressed out I don't really feel like filming, obviously. So let me tell you what I did. So the back panel and the front panel is, you know, standard shoulder top-down construction where you make the back panel and then you pick up stitches and then knit the front panels. So I had knit the front panels and I was like, oh my god, I'm so excited. I'm ready to join in the round and just knit the body and get her done. And then I knit the left panel. I knit through the left panel and then I get to the back panel on the body and then I'm like looking to join under the underarm. And I realized that the stitch that I was expecting from the back panel was a knit, and I realized that it's a purl. You know what that means? That means I picked up the shoulders of the front panels from the wrong side of the back panel. And I had already done the two front panels. Imagine my distress. Please, just... I don't have video evidence. I really wish I did. But just imagine my distress. I was like... I was mad. I was real mad. So I had to put this down for a couple days while I composed myself. But as you can see, I did join in the round. So what I did was I carefully unpicked the picked up stitches of the top of the front panels. So I did that for both, and then I put the live stitches on needles. That took a while. That took like 2 days. And then I made sure this time that the right sides were facing each other. And then I picked up the stitches from the back of the shoulder, and then I did a 3 needle bind off from the other side of the fabric. Then that's the 3 needle bind off there. It creates a more bulky edge because the edge in the original was very seamless and looked really good and had more stretch horizontally. So I fear the construction of the garment has been a little changed in the structure and the drape will be a little different, but I am wondering if it's for the better because this lace I'm sure will stretch across the shoulders a little bit, And then having this 3 needle bind off will give it a little bit more structure so that it like stays a little bit tighter on the shoulder. So I'm trying to, you know, remain positive. Yeah, but the fact that I had to do that is not pleasant. So I did that for both of the shoulders, and now there are the right sides are facing out. Yeah. Imagine my surprise when I get to the back panel and then the stitches were not the stitches that I was looking for. That was unfortunate. But we persevered and we made a lot of progress. For these types of projects, I normally don't do the collar until the end of the project, but then for this one, because I was so frustrated doing the shoulder thing, I needed a little more motivation, something easy before I moved on. So I started on the collar, and then I read through the collar techniques, and I was like, oh, there's more. I have to pay attention. That was a little distressing, but also made through that one. Basically, this collar has a technique where it's called a welt stitch, and how it works is you knit like 4 rows of stockinette, and then you pick up the leg of the first stitch or first row stitch, and then like knit it together somehow so that it creates this like neater finish on the wrong side of the fabric. It does look very nice, but I was kind of upset that I couldn't just do a, you know, straight ribbing, but it does look nice, so you should do it. And what's interesting was that the collar finishing is done with the Rook bind off method. It's my first time doing it. It's kind of like the Italian sewn bind off, but it has a different method where you just kind of like don't have to do the back and forth of weaving, but it's the same kind of concept, I guess, where you're always passing through like each stitch twice. So I thought that was very interesting, and it does create a really nice finish. So I might use this a lot more in my future knitting projects. I'm knitting the second size in this pattern, and I haven't really made any modifications other than having to do the whole shoulder thing, and then just like following the pattern pretty much exactly. I did not gauge swatch, but that's not a surprise to you if you've seen me for this long. And I will try and get you the final gauge once I'm done with everything and I block it. But having worked with this yarn, I don't think this yarn really stretches that much. I guess the lace pattern will like kind of bloom out a little bit, but yeah. Did I tell you what yarn this is? This is Hikoo CoBaSi in the colorway white. It's not white, as you can see, it's like off-white. I love this yarn. It's very nice. It does feel like terry cloth. Somebody put that in, somebody got what I was talking about in the comments. It does feel like terry cloth, and I really like it. And it's so soft. And I also noticed that this is a yarn that's approved for making knitted knockers. So if you're looking for something that's like super soft and, you know, ready to be put next to skin, I would definitely recommend this yarn. Let me show you just the buttons that I am planning to use with that. I got this at the Fabric District in New York, and it's these kind of like tortoiseshell-ish white square oval, rectangular oval, scoval shapes, and I think they're pretty cute. Although they are a little like white compared to the off-white of the polo, but that doesn't really bother me that much. So that's the plan. Next summer project. You have not seen this yet, but I do have quite a bit of progress, if I do say so myself. Also, do you like my project bag? Yeah, this used to be a drawstring bag, but then I like cut off, like drawstring backpack, but then I cut off the straps and then turned it into this like square bottom thing. Anyways, I think it's cute. It's water resistant too, and I put straps on it. Last year, if you remember, I'm sure you remember if you've been watching me since last summer, because I talked like at least 75,000 times about this pattern, but this is the square tee by Knitrohi on Instagram and Ravelry. You know, I am very partial to the square tee, and I liked the original square tee that I knit up using Noro yarn. However, I never felt that the Noro yarn was really super suitable for summer, and I needed a redo, so I am doing a redo. The project kind of like started because I had this cotton yarn left over from knitting the Simply Your sweater by Sedna Knitting, and the color stripes, I had the white and navy yarns left over, and I was like, what do I do with that? So I don't know if this is a Korean saying or if it's like I was saying anywhere else in English too. The belly button is bigger than the belly. That's this project. So this is contrast trim is the leftover cotton yarn, and then the rest of this is a new yarn that I purchased. This is the Hikoo CoBaSi, but in the DK weight. The DK weight, I wanted to try it because I really liked how the fingering weight yarn felt, so I was like, what does DK weight feel like? So I got the DK weight, and I do really like it. I don't think it'll be as breezy, obviously, because it's thicker as the fingering weight yarn, but I just really like how it feels against my skin, and it does feel like quite, like it won't stick to me. So I still think it'll be an appropriate summer weather yarn. Just not as breezy as a fingering weight project, obviously, but it's looking really good. This is also in the colorway white, but it is an off-white. So it has a more like vintagey feel with the navy trim. And then the plan also is to do the trim on the sleeves as well, so that you get a little like, what is that called? It's kind of like a skater shirt, ringer tee, kind of like that look, I guess, but a little more sophisticated because it's a square neck and not a round neck. I don't know. I really like how this is turning out, and I'm very, very pleased about my progress. And I've split the sleeves and then joined the body, and I did this like pretty much in less than a week, which is very quick for me because this project is very simple to follow on the yoke part, and then the body part is just stocking it all the way down. So it's very, very easy. I would definitely recommend it for a beginner if you want like this, a quick DK weight knit tee, and the end result is really, really good. So very pleased about how this is turning out. Hopefully I'll finish it for the next podcast episode, and then I could show up wearing it. That would be a dream. I just think it looks so cute. It was so funny because like Arohi actually like DM'd me on Instagram. She was like, girl, every time you talk about the square tee on your podcast, like I see my Ravelry sales go up. And I'm like, girl, it's just girls being girls, and I'm being a girl's girl, and she's made such a great pattern that I need to shill it pretty much every waking moment. But yeah, I'm really excited. The CoBaSi DK is also Jenny approved, whatever that means to you. I am really looking forward to using it in a lot more projects. I think part of being I hate using the word influencer because I don't think I'm really influencing that many people, nor, you know, whatever. But as a knitting content creator, I feel this need to try different yarns all the time so that I could provide a variety of content. But it's always good to have like a solid fallback yarn that you could use, you know? Especially with summer yarn, I think it is kind of difficult to find something that you really, really like. So I'm glad that I have found this. And then a lot of people in the comments and Instagram DMs have also told me that the CoBaSi is also their favorite. So it's gotten a ringing endorsement from many. So that's that. I bought enough of the yarn to finish, so I will not be playing Yarn Chicken this time. Everybody say cheers and congrats to me. So that's the second summer knitting project. And then I do have a third one. Okay, so this is born from the same dilemma as the last one, where I had navy and white yarn left over, cotton yarn left over from the Simply Your Sweater project. And then once again, the belly button is bigger than the belly because we have this tank top and I had to buy more yarn, even though the original project was designed so that I wouldn't use more yarn. But once again, Jenny failed in doing simple math calculations and she had to buy more yarn. Anyways, this is the Perfect Striped Tank by Sweater Freak. This is, I think this is a newish pattern. Okay, well, anyways, let's backtrack. Yarn used: Cascade, Ultra Pima, colorway white, navy. Simple. Yeah, I had a leftover from that Simply Your Sweater project, so I put it to work. I had a ball and change of the white yarn, and then I had less than a ball of the navy yarn, and I thought that was enough. I was wrong. And also because I knit this in the fourths, well, the sizing I am a little bit afraid to tell you about because everyone will be like, what is wrong with you? But the sizing, I'm not really sure what I'm knitting. I thought I cast on the third size, but then throughout I must have switched to the fourth size somehow because your girl doesn't learn, and I always make the same mistakes where instead of highlighting in the PDF file what size you're knitting, I just wing it every time. I'm like, I'll remember. Chat, she did not remember. So it's like a medium or large. What it's turning into a large. It's more of a large, and that's why it looks like this. But I chose it because it's a DK sport weight pattern, and I thought it would be good to use this yarn, which is kind of like on the thinner side of DK. It looks kind of wonk. My stitches are not the best here, but then I found that with this cotton yarn, it just, once you wash it and block it, it turns out chef's kiss. So I am not that worried about my stitches looking jank. I'm sure it'll fix itself. I'm hoping it'll fix itself. So that's modification number one, where I just lost count of the stitches that I was doing, and then I stopped counting after a while. So assume it's a large, and I will tell you the final measurements once I am done with this. But that's number one. Number two is that I adjusted the length of the straps a little bit. I made the straps a little bit longer by I think about like 4 rows-ish on the increase here, because I just wanted the neckline to sit a little bit more away from my neck. And then I did it, and then I realized that I've definitely knit a size that is too large for me. So the neckline, it was fine. It wasn't like super revealing or anything, but I just wanted it to come up a little bit more, like towards here. So what I did for the edge here is, this is different from what's in the pattern. So I had a couple people ask me like, what pattern is this? And I was like, oh, it's Perfect Striped Tank. And then people were like, it doesn't look like that. And I'm like, I know, I'm sorry. I just did whatever. So the edging is 2x2. I'm not sure if you can tell, but the edge is 2x2 rib knit on 2.75mm needles so that it's like super tight. And then I did a stockinette rolled edge in white to kind of like contrast. So it creates this kind of like, I don't know how to describe it. It creates an edge that looks like this. I think it's pretty cute. I don't know what you think about that, but like, pretty cute, right? And I also realized that because I knit a size that is too large for me, the armholes were like too big, and I could not wear a bra safely in the original. So by adding this extra length to the edges, it makes it so that I could wear a bra, no problem. So I'm very excited to have this actually, because it's turning out, it looks a lot better worn than just like this. It looks really cute. But the length, well, I think I will shorten the length from the original pattern because I think it's a little too long, and then I'll probably think about maybe replicating the ribbing edge on the bottom as well, because I don't super love how the bottom edge kind of flared out on the original and it just like is a rolled up hem. I don't know. I'll think about it when I get there. But why I chose this pattern, honestly don't know. I just like saw it. I was like, I know I have that video from last year about like just tank tops and sleeveless tops, but I was just like looking around because I wanted to just be able to follow the stitch counts of the yarn that I have, since most of the tank tops that I recommended last year were fingering weight, and this is like sport DK. So I found this and I thought it looked good, so I cast it on, and it's been really easy to cast on, honestly. I feel like I've been having a lot of success with this, just following this pattern, and I think the stripes look really good. Originally from the sample, I thought the stripes were just like stockinette stripes. They do have a pearl ridge like bump, so it adds a little bit more texture as well. So if you want something that's a little bit different, I think this looks really nice. So here we are. Let me tell you about another mistake I made, because I love blasting myself on the internet. I had to buy more yarn because yeah girl ran out of yarn, and then I had, it makes it seem like I'm drinking all the time. It's really not. I was just having a couple more beers, and then I wasn't reading, and then I ordered the yarn, the Ultra Pima, from a yarn shop online, because I meant to go back to Nitty City where I had originally bought this, but they were out of stock, so I had to buy it online. And then I just chose a random yarn shop that I saw on the internet for like the lowest price of this. Basically, it was a local yarn store based out of Michigan, and I hit buy, and then the next morning I read the email, like the receipt. I didn't realize that Ultra Pima came in 2 different weights. So this is a PSA for you. The Ultra Pima comes in 2 different weights. This original was just regular weight, you know? So the DK whatever. This is Ultra Pima Fine, which is sport weight. And this is supposed to be like DK. So that was unfortunate. But then I got it, right? I got this. And I started knitting with it, and I feel like it looks the same. Like, I don't know what the difference is. Like, it's like slightly thinner, but not enough for it to really make a huge difference. Can you tell? Like, from here down is Ultra Pima Fine, but I feel like it looks the same. So yeah, it was a mistake, but I feel like it worked out. I feel like it worked out. I don't really care, at least. So just, if you're really sensitive to that stuff though, don't make, I mean, I think generally you would like to not make mistakes like this because you're a normal, sane person. And so this is a PSA, don't drink and order yarn. Last time I told you don't drink and knit sample swatches. Don't drink and order yarn either. Be responsible. Don't be like me. The last work in progress. In the last vlog, I talked about going to Michael's and coming across the... Okay, so I had a couple of people say like call this different things. I had one person call it, I think near me, it was called boondoggles or like box knots or something like that. But somebody called it, what do they call it? Skibbity-doo? Scooby-Doo? Scooby-Doo. Skibbity. Sorry, I have internet brain rot. But Scooby-Doo is another name, I guess, for these kind of like keychain things that you would make where you like braid it and knot it so that it makes this like box shape or like a spiral shape, you know, like, or you would do it at camp. I never went to camp, but I heard that the kids do be doing that at camp. However, it's this like plastic cording. And I got the silver hollow kind of like effect one, and it turns purple in the light because of UV and plastic. However, but I just thought it would be an interesting idea to kind of like use this and make a jelly bag, you know, net bag. So that's what I'm working on here. You kind of can't tell what it is because it's very bunched up, but I'm thinking gravity will do the trick once I put something heavy in here, like a pile of rocks, and then hang it from something, and then it'll kind of like set itself into a more of a net bag shape. But this is what I got. This is called Rex Lace, and they do sell it in this like long boy cord form, roll form. So if you want to try this, I don't know why you would, because this is like, I love torture, I guess. This is torturous, like knitting with this, it sucks. So I don't recommend it for your health, but if you want to give it a go, I'll link it down below. So Rex Lace. And I don't know, this is like, I learned how to make those boondoggle things like way back when I was little from a friend, and I haven't touched this since then, so it's been interesting working with this again. I'm not really using a bag pattern. There is one free one from Ravelry that I've been like basing this off of very loosely, but I don't think you need really a pattern to do it. What I've been doing is kind of like, well, I don't know why I'm explaining this to you, like you will actually do it, but the idea is the bottom of the bag is kind of like a rectangle or a square done with garter stitch, and then I just did like 20 stitches, and then like however many rows to make it a square-ish shape, and then I went around the entirety of the square and then picked up stitches and then just joined in the round, and I've been knitting up, up, up. But the bottom you knit on a smaller circumference, or you knit on a smaller needle size. So this was like, I think it was a 5mm, and then I switched to a really big needle after you pick up the bag bottom. So this one is US 15 or 10mm. I think you could go even like 12mm, but I don't want things to like fall out. I mean, it's gonna fall out. Like the stitches are really big, but like that, it's gonna fall out, but I don't want like everything to fall out. So I'm trying to like maintain a decent size. One thing about these chonky needles is that I don't have any stitch markers that would fit this. So I was using my ring on this, and then I was like, okay, that's a little deranged. So I like dug around the house and I found this thing. I don't even know what it is, but I've been using that as a stitch marker instead. I haven't really decided how I'll make the straps, because I have to figure out, like, I think one thing is this, you want to make this like entirely seamless, because you don't want to be having like extra knots because it's slippery, and then if it's slippery then you have to worry about it fraying and coming apart. So I'll have to make I don't know, I'll have to come up with some way to make the straps like seamless, I guess. So stay tuned for that, whatever I figure out. But that's this bag project. You will see this again if it is a success, and if it's not a success, you will never see this again. So that's that on that. Okay, we're almost there. We just have a couple more acquisitions. Well, the acquisitions have been a lot of, you've seen it already. They're not that exciting, but I do have two that are not currently wrapped up in projects. One is CoBaSi DK, but I also bought a sweater quantity of it in the colorway Bubblegum, because after I like was working with it, I was like, I think I just want like a easy to throw on sweater with the same yarn. So I bought the DK version in a pink, and yeah, I think this was partially inspired by me knitting the cognac cardigan and then it immediately becoming summer, and then I couldn't wear my pink dream cardigan anymore, which is a bummer and an upsetting experience. So I'm like, what if I made a more summer appropriate a sweater top thing that I could just like throw on for the summer. So that's what this is, or that's what this will become. So as far as patterns go, I don't think I'm going to do a cardigan because I don't know, I just don't feel like doing a cardigan again. I already have a pink cardigan. I don't think I need two. So I was thinking, I was just looking through my patterns, and I actually had bought the Wanaka sweater or the polo thing from Andy Knits, and so I think I will be casting on that with this one. That one, as soon as I have been looking to make that kind of like polo style button sweater thing, because I don't know, it just seems like something that would be really easy to throw on and then have as like a extra layer that you kind of bring around casually. So another one of those sweatshirty types of sweaters. And once I really wanted to test knit it, but then at the time, yes, there were things, so I couldn't test knit it. So I bought it immediately when it came out, which was back in March. And I had a couple of other yarns I had prepared for that, but I think it'll be good to, following the success of my Simply Your sweater, I think I want to have another cotton-based sweater. So that's why I'm using this, and I'm really excited to cast it on because I love this yarn. It's amazing. So that's that. And then I bought Patons Classic Wool Worsted, just from Michael's, or our friend Mikael's. We have two of these because following the success of the bunny, I was also enthralled with the idea of sheep, concept of sheep. I love sheep as a concept. I don't know if you guys have also looked at or been served content from this creator, but they are a shearer. Well, there's only a couple shearers on YouTube. I love their content. I love looking at all the sheep, and I came across a video where it was a baby doll sheep. So like the sheep that have like the wool all around their face, and I was like, please, I just need a Highland cow and a baby sheep, and that's all I need in my life to become a complete whole human. Anyways, this is another way of saying that I was very inspired to make a sheep plush. So I think I'm going to try knitting the Pearl Soho bubble sheep plush pillow cushion thing, and I think it would do very nicely here as a background prop. You know, I don't always have to be knitting sweaters. I could be knitting a sheep cushion. I actually saw that sheep cushion, like the finished object version of it, at Knitty City, and I've been interested in it since, so I think this will be a very good opportunity for me to make that. And I just wanted, obviously, I think it makes sense that it has to be like 100% wool for a project that is a sheep. But I have this, and then the face part, I will just use whatever black yarn I have at home, and you know, it'll be all good. So I wanted to try this yarn before, but then I couldn't think of a project for it, so this time I bought this at Michael's, but this is really one of the only like 100% wool options that you can find at Michael's. So that was partially one reason why I bought it. But yeah, I love it. I think it's not super soft, but it's not like super itchy, and I think that's good enough for a cushion, and it was pretty affordable, so I bought two of these. This is the colorway Aran. I believe that's a colorway name. So stay tuned to see what the sheep will turn out. I'm in my plush era. I say that like I've ever left the plush era. I've never left the plush era. I am a grown-ass adult, and I can do whatever I want with my money and time, and that will involve me knitting a sheep cushion. Well, thanks for sticking around to another episode. If you have any questions about any of the things that I talked about that I did not address in the video, please feel free to leave them down in the comments below, and I will get to them and I will answer them to the best of my abilities. Stay cool, everybody, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere. This heat is no joke. I'll see you guys later. Bye!